So welcome to this talk, which is called Inspiration, Not Information. And the reason I called this talk Inspiration, Not Information is because we are desperately in need of inspiration. We are drowning in a sea of information. Most of it's coming from the media and coming from, the people we talk to who often repeat what they've seen in the media. And so we're being bombarded with information constantly, which just feeds our mind. All it does is keep us in our head, and it feeds this picture we've got in our minds of what's real, what reality is. However, the media is using the information that it's giving to us as a means to shape the way we think, as a means to control the way we see the world, because the media is essentially being used as a political tool. I would say 90% of it now, the media is in the hands of those who have a political agenda, and they're using the media to get us thinking a certain way, to get us more afraid, to get us staying in our heads. Because when we're in our heads, then first of all we consume more, we're better consumers. Second of all, we're more likely to disagree with other people because our opinions will differ from their opinions, or what we think is right, or what we believe, our beliefs, our mental perspective on the world will differ from somebody else's. So if we can stay in our mind, if we can be encouraged to stay in our mind, then there'll be more conflict in the world, because everyone's relating to each other from their ideas, from their beliefs, from their opinions. And of course we can never all unite on the level of beliefs and ideas. What unites us is love, that feeling of love, not just the idea of love, but the feeling of love, the feeling that we care about everything, the feeling that we want to help everyone, the feeling that we want to forgive everyone. This is like limitless compassion. You could call it unconditional compassion. And that's what unites us. That's our humanity. That compassion is the core of our humanity. And if we get back to that, that's what will unite the human race. Compassion. Compassion of all suffering individuals, creatures, all those in need. Now, obviously we're drowning in information, and we're starving for inspiration, because this information is basically just keeping us in our mind, and we're getting more and more distant from our heart. We're getting more into our ideas, our beliefs about the future, our fears about this dark scenarios which are going to come around the corner. So we're getting more into that, and we're losing touch with our heart. And as we lose touch with our heart, then we have the potential to become hopeless, pessimistic. And this is happening to a lot of people now. They're getting so far into their mental picture that the media is implanted in their minds. They're losing touch with the reality in their heart, because that's where reality is. Reality isn't in the pictures that you've created in your head that you're so sure are going to come true in the real world. That's not reality. That's an abstraction. That's a vision. It doesn't have to come true. No vision has to come true unless you make it come true, unless you put all your energy into it and you make it come true. That's the only way a vision will come true. So if the media wants you to have a dark vision of dystopia and suffering and oppression in your mind, and you allow it, you take on those beliefs, you take them on, and you're so sure that they're going to happen, then in a way you make them happen by your fear. You're emotionally engaging with that vision, with fear, and that's emotional engagement. It may not be a desire, but it's still emotional engagement. And so that emotion is feeding that vision. And so you will create that vision for yourself. You will see things in the way that you're envisioning them because of the emotional engagement you have with this picture. Whether it's fear, love, joy, it doesn't matter. The emotional engagement is feeding that vision. And so obviously, we don't want to feed these dark visions in our head, which have been put there by the media, over a very long time, in a very clever way, in many clever ways. We don't want to be feeding that. We want to be feeding our vision of joy, our vision of healing, our vision of peace and kind of shared happiness with the world. This is a vision that we can work towards. And that vision actually inspires us. When we know that that's possible, and I'm here telling you right now that that is possible, no matter how much work there seems to be to conquer the forces of darkness, to stop people who are evil having a say in how this world works. It may look like a big task, but that's actually one stone, you can pull out one stone and everything collapses. You can pull out the cornerstone and then this whole thing collapses. And that's actually what's going to happen. The cornerstone of this whole dark agenda is going to be pulled out. And this cornerstone, nothing can be held together without this cornerstone. And that cornerstone is going to be removed quite soon. And this dark agenda will not be able to continue, will not be able to carry on, will not be able to reconstruct itself because the cornerstone has been removed. And so you don't need to worry about fighting the dark forces. What you have to be concerned with is feeding your heart, feeding your inspiration, embracing the energy, the God-given energy you have to share passion, to share your love, to share your enthusiasm and light and the creative energy that God has given you, the energy and the enthusiasm to create beautiful things. We have to harness that. That's the most important thing now. We're wasting our time looking at the darkness, trying to battle with the bad guys, trying to argue who's right, who's wrong. We're looking in the wrong direction because that's coming from a mental engagement or an emotional engagement with what's going on there in that sphere, that whole theatre. If we engage with that mentally or emotionally, then we are going to get stuck in it. But what we need to engage with our heart, is the reality of inspiration. So we need inspiration, we need to have inspiration flowing through us, and we need to be sharing inspiration with those around us. That's our job. We're like a lighthouse. The first job is to get lit up. Our second job is to shine our light far and wide. And that, when our light is shining, that will stop people getting pulled into darkness. Like a ship on the ocean. When the light is shining, the ships can steer themselves clear of the rocks. You don't have to do the job for them. You don't even have to point out the rocks for them. The ship can see the lighthouse, can see the light, and so they know that there is danger there. And so just by shining your light, you're telling people, look, you need to go this way. You need to follow the light. You need to allow the light to light you up. Because we all have a destiny to shine like a sun, to be bright, to be radiant, to be inspiring those around us, to be sharing positive energy with those around us. And it comes back to us. It's like a flow of energy. We're in a sea of energy. Life is a sea of energy. And the energy flows through our heart. And we allow it to wash back out into the world. And we can kind of intensify the energy when we're in our heart, when we're allowing happiness, joy, peace to flow through us. And we're not focusing on the dark things, but we're focusing on the beauty of life. When we enjoy being in nature, when we take care of our children, when we spend time with them, when we play with our dogs or play with our animals or, do something fun like dancing or laughing or enjoying life. When we're enjoying life, then we are essentially feeding this fire in our heart. And then the energies of life come through us, they flow through our heart, and they're purified. So our heart kind of acts like a purifier for all the things that come our way. We might feel someone's pain come into our heart, someone we love. If we open our heart to people we love, then we will feel their pain, but then we can transform it back into joy. This is what our heart is capable of. And this is our highest purpose, really, as a human being, is to use our heart to transform dark energies like fear, anger, hostility, pain, grief, and to transform them back into love, back into joy. And we can do this, we can all do this. First thing is to get our light shining brightly, to rekindle that fire in our heart, and to realize that being happy, being excited about life is our natural state. It is our natural state. And we don't have to make an effort to be like that. We don't have to make an effort to force ourselves to be happy or force ourselves to smile and be joyful. We have to put our attention in the right direction. And then the consequences of doing that will be happiness. The consequences will be more light, more excitement, more childish enthusiasm for life. Because we are still children. We are all still children in our heart. And we've just buried that child under a lot of adult beliefs, a lot of adult obligations, a lot of adult heaviness. We've kind of buried that child under this world that we're supposed to be living in as an adult. And that child still wants to have fun, still wants to be joyful, still wants to play and laugh and be creative. So that child has not disappeared, it's just been buried. And we have to uncover that child. We have to take off all the weight that's been oppressing that child, stopping it breaking free. And we have to let that child come back up. And remember that we are motivated to have fun. We are motivated to share laughter, good energy, to play, to smile. And of course, there are other adult qualities too, like to help other people, to care about other people. It's not just we revert back to childhood, but we incorporate what we've learned as an adult, which is the vital processes of communicating with other people and helping them solve their problems and helping people to heal and just showing people we care about them. You know, these are vital adult attributes that we need to bring back to this child and merge the two together. That there's a side of us which knows how to have joy and it knows how to experience joy and have fun, and it hasn't forgotten that, and we kind of, that's at the forefront of our personality, is that childish attitude of innocence and joy and laughter. And then we marry that with the adult attributes of responsibility, and that's care, compassion, obligation to help others, a duty to help those in need. Those are the adult attributes. And we put these two things together, and essentially you have a complete human being. You have the child and the adult, the best qualities of the child and the best qualities of the adult. Because of course children have childish qualities that are not very helpful in this world. You know, they throw tantrums and they scream and shout and they demand what they want, and they can be very very insolent and rude and facetious, and of course we don't need those aspects in our society. So we need the good aspects of the child and the good aspects of the adult, because they kind of fit together like a jigsaw. So if you want to get rid of those negative childish attributes, which we all exhibit, by the way, even as adults, we all exhibit selfishness, we all exhibit stubbornness, we all exhibit kind of demanding to get our way at some time or another. We all exhibit childish characteristics. And the way that we get rid of those is by implementing that which takes responsibility. The part of us which knows that it has no right to complain and make a fuss. It's got a duty to help others, a duty to lift those up who are worse than us. Because there are always people worse off than we are, and that means we have more strength than them. And we can reach out and lift them up. And that's how we get greater strength. We reach out to those who we are stronger than, and we help them, we lift them up, and we encourage them to remember what life is all about.